Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Ania, and in today's video, I am finally sharing my March plan with me. So first, I wanted to quickly go through and flip through the month of February. Of course, as you guys know, if you watched my February plan with me, I went with this sweet little picnic theme for February as kind of like a play on Valentine's Day, and I just think the spreads came together really well for the month. I have to apologize that this video is so late. I had a couple technical difficulties and life kind of just got in the way. However, as I always state, I still wanted to share just in case you may find some inspiration. So this empty spread here is going to be used as a memories page for both Valentine's Day and my birthday. And now we are getting straight into the March plan with me. So I'm using an old memo pad that I kind of had laying around for what I am going to do on this page, and I would suggest using something pretty thick if you're going to recreate this, because you don't want to cause any problems or tears in your other pages. So as you might be able to tell, I am creating this window, kind of like a window scene, and this was such an awesome spread idea that I saw on Instagram that I just knew I wanted to have in my bullet journal. So I'm kind of recreating it in a similar way to the original, but also trying to add my own spin to it. And if you're gonna do this, please just be very careful, because X-Acto knives are sharp, and I did nick myself pretty good, and it bled a lot. It's probably a little bit TMI, but just a reminder to be careful. With sharp things, they suck, and it really hurts if you accidentally hurt yourself. And I had to carefully cut around those letters. I would advise, if you're going to recreate this, to outline everything first. It will make your job a lot easier. I did it backwards, so some of the lines didn't match up anymore, especially around the letters, and it made it really difficult to fill them in fully black later. But I think that watching the video, it's pretty self-explanatory of what I'm doing, just taking my time, cutting out each side, and then carefully pulling the paper out of the hole that I created, and that will give us our window effect. You might have to go back in a couple times to create deeper cuts, or just to get a better cut in general. I had to do this a couple times. I was trying to be really careful not to accidentally cut any pieces off that weren't supposed to be cut off. This process was a little bit time consuming, but I think the end result was very much worth it for the time spent creating this spread. Also, sorry for the camera angle. Sometimes when I'm filming, I think that I, am in good enough range of the camera, and then I watch the footage back and I'm like, oh, this could have been moved up more so you can see what I'm doing. So hopefully you still get a pretty good visual of, the steps that I'm taking to bring this spread to life. If not, I apologize, and I'll link the original creator's video down below so you can see how she did it. I would think that might be a better tutorial to follow anyway, but this was just kind of my creative spin on it. And now you can see that I'm actually posting in the sticker that's going to go behind the window. I think this just made it look so nice, and so gives it such a modern feel, right? So I really enjoyed that look, and I was just really happy with that. I went through a couple different options of what I should put behind it, and I knew I wanted to be something botanical related, because that for the most part is my theme. And yeah, but I came across this picture on Pinterest and thought, this is a really awesome picture. It looks like there's a nice big garden or nursery behind this window, and so I just went with it. So now I am carefully coloring in the letters, and like I said, definitely should have outlined this first, because from afar it looks okay. Up close, she's not having a good day, but I still really like the way it came across. And of course it's the cover page, so it's okay that it's not perfect, but it does make the statement. It's the first thing you're gonna see for the month, so just keep that in mind. Just don't be like me, outline it first. It will make your job a lot easier, especially this part 2 of the window. Definitely should have done this before I cut it out, but you know, it is what it is. We are where we are, and I still think it came together really nicely. And if you did happen to follow this tutorial, I promise it will still come together nicely. It's just, you know, we could have worked smarter and not harder. So with this video being late, I hope the start to March and the start to spring has been really good to you. I hope you guys are doing well, and if you are, let me know. Also, I would love to know what your theme for the month is, because I'm just super curious. I know most people have already done their themes, so again, I am super late to the party. What else is new? But yeah, I just wanted to check in and make sure you guys are doing okay. Right now, I decided to take this creative choice to do some, we'll call it shading around the window. It does look pretty good, but I was also thinking that if you wanted to recreate this for your bullet journal, you don't have to do the shading. You can leave it open and it will still have like a really nice modern look, especially with the picture that I used. And so now we're putting that picture in, and I feel like these bigger stickers, I always mess them up. I didn't end up lining this up correctly, so it didn't fit the window exactly how it needed to, especially the sticker was already it's already a little bit small for this in general, so putting it in the wrong place was not going to work. I did tear up the page a little bit, but it was actually okay because it didn't mess up the other side of the page, which I was really thankful for, so I didn't have to like spare any paper. But yeah. So now I'm gonna do a sort of Dutch door on this page just for fun, and also the original creator did it and it looked really cool, so obviously I'm taking a lot of inspiration from there. And this part was really, it looks really cool when it's all said and done. However, cutting around the letters is pretty difficult and tedious, but of course, like once you get into the groove, it's a little bit easier. So I went to Hobby Lobby recently and got a bunch of new stationery, and one of those things was these tiny little scissors. And I've been seeing like these tiny little scissors everywhere. People have like these like really awesome vintage ones. They were a little pricey for me, so I just went with some regular really sharp craft scissors, and they are the best. Probably one of my favorite things that I got from that stationery haul in general. Now I'm gonna use my circle stencil to do the colors of the month, basically for my theme, and my corner rounder to finish off that first page, that window. It just looks so good, so I would highly recommend doing it. I'm like gonna be so excited to look back at this and be like, wow, I did that theme in my, you know, in my journal. So I ended up going through and making some bigger circles for my colors of the month, and I just went through and colored them in, and that basically finishes off this first spread, and I just am obsessed with how it came together. I thought about adding a quote on the other side, but ended up deciding that I just liked the simple look a lot better. So now we are jumping straight into my calendar for this month, and I did do something a little bit different for this calendar. I was really satisfied with the sizes that I was using for January and February, but I decided to do a little bit of a smaller calendar because I had some things I really wanted to fit on the side. Again, you guys, using Pinterest and Instagram, they are such great sources for inspiration, because I was inspired by a layout I saw on Instagram for this calendar, and I just kind of, again, put my own twist on it and just made it, you know, something that worked for me. And I just am obsessed with the way that it came out. And I think I actually like this calendar better than the calendar I used last month, but I'm going to continue to switch it up and try new things because I think it's fun, and I think you can really learn a lot about yourself doing that. And first and foremost, this is a creative outlet for me. So, if I'm limiting my creativity and doing it, then I'm probably not doing it right. So over on the side of this calendar, I am stamping this month, and underneath that, quite a bit underneath that, I'm actually going to stamp the word growth, and this is going to be my trackers for my Instagram growth and my YouTube growth. So I'm really excited to be focusing on these things. Of course, you guys know, if you followed me for a while, that I have a lot going on right now, and so this video is a good example of my content already slipping. I am finishing up my last semester before I transfer, and I'm also back at work part-time, so your girl does not have time right now, but I'm trying to make time because I enjoy doing this a lot, and it's something that keeps me motivated, keeps me focused, and again, it keeps me creative. So I think that is why I keep coming back to it, even if I fall off. It's just something that always reappears back in my life. So clearly this is something I'm supposed to be doing. So now I'm going to go ahead and start decorating the top, and I really love the way that I layered a lot of the titles for this month, so you'll see this reoccurring through a couple pages. But I basically went to Dollar Tree, I bought a book, I took the paper from the book and cut it up and made these little strips, and then I printed out some washi tape, quote unquote, from Pinterest, and pasted that right on top, and then I stamped the word March in lowercase letters on like a flashcard, like a little piece of flashcard, and I just thought, wow, this looks really cool. Like, it's very simple, very easy to do, but it just looks really nice. Stickers that I created for this month's theme as well, and they just have my heart. Like, I just love the way they turned out, and yeah, just this is one of those rare cases where my ideas kind of just came together in a way that just worked really well, and I was just really happy about that, because it's not always the case. So anyway, I started on this bottom side with a script sticker that I pasted a clear flower sticker over, and one of those trendy little like girl stickers, which they're super cute. So I just wanted to use a couple of those this month. And yeah, I also bought these little tags from Michael's, and I ended up cutting out the center to give me this little outline, because I've been seeing that all over Instagram, and so I just knew I had to try it. And then I also got this book of these quotes, which I'm sure you guys have seen this everywhere. This is not new. And I put that inside, and I love the way this came together. So I will say that I don't know if anybody else has had this issue, but I cannot find the Tombow adhesive rollers anywhere. And I found an old one that had been sitting in my drawer for a while, and it sucks. Like, it does not keep anything down. I had to go back through multiple times through like the book paper and this postcard, or the paper that I used for March, to re-stick those down, and yeah. So that is how my calendar came together, and now we are moving straight on to my habit tracker. So this is one of my favorite spreads that has been in my bullet journal since the start of the month, since I took inspiration from Leela and went with this layout. I have been obsessed. The funny thing is, I was actually going to switch it up for this month. I was going to do something completely different, and before I started filming, I just had a pit in my stomach about it, and I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this. Like, I enjoy what I'm using so much that if I change it to what I was going to do, I was like, I'm just not going to get as much joy out of it as I have been, and I'm probably not going to use it as much. So, I think a lot of people have this debate about whether a bullet journal should be pretty or productive, and I'm really, really big about making it both, because I feel like if I like the way it looks, I'm more inclined to use it. That's just me though. So I was just kind of like, yeah, it might be something different, for the video, but is it going to be useful in my real life? Probably not. So super duper satisfied that I went against changing it, because the way that I decided to design it for this month is like probably like I don't know, it just really came together, and I'm just really happy that I went with my gut and I just stick to what I wanted to do, because it ended up just working out really well. So if you want to know the habits and things that I'm tracking, I would advise that you go to my Instagram account. That is where you're going to see up close pictures of all of my themes of this month. In fact, I already have a couple pictures of this theme up already, again, because this video is late. So, you know, if you want to see anything in more detail, Instagram is definitely the place to go. So right now I'm using my green color of the month to go ahead and grid out my habit trackers, and I use these as the days without actually writing the days. So I feel like, you know, most people will probably know that, but just in case you didn't, that's how I use it. Back in January, actually did do like a whole thing where I did actually write out the dates, but I just didn't like the way that it looked. I think it looks so much more clean and simple just having it, you know, just be open. So this is another thing that I've been seeing all over Instagram, is like this like film roll type of design where, you know, there's things layered on top of it. Fell in love with it, had to do it. Also, this is one of my favorite stickers that I have this month, is these like really beautiful pink flowers, and I'm just like actually obsessed. So I threw in a little postal stamp at the bottom and put that film roll right over top. And here's another little girl. I thought it looked really, really nice, and it all came together. And yeah, just threw a little eucalyptus sticker at the bottom there just for some extra green. Now, in retrospect, stamping this script, I kind of wish I would have done it lower and level with the other side of the spread, but I think it makes it more interesting this way. So that's what we're gonna go with. Again, I'm using the layering for the title to put in March habits, and you know, I'm never not gonna be obsessed with the way that that looks. So yeah. I also wanted to mention that, you know, obviously you guys have already created your March plan with me, as I assume that most of you have, but if you have any ideas of themes to do for April, I would love to know them down below, because I am kind of drawing a blank. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do for next month, but I'm thinking of ideas right around this time. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. It'd be a huge help. So at the bottom, I put in a quote that says, life is meant to be an adventure. Fun fact, I accidentally used this quote twice, so obviously it really spoke to me this month. All right, so now we're moving into 2 new spreads in my bullet journal. As you guys know, I've been keeping it really simple, but I decided to make a playlist spread, and on the other side will be a meal planner. So again, surprise, surprise, this playlist spread was inspired by a post I saw on Instagram. And I did do it a little bit different because they weren't actually supposed to be connected, but I had already drawn the connecting line. So I was just like, you know what, we're just gonna go with it. And it still came out really, really cute. So personally, I am all good with the little mistake that I made. So I go back and forth all the time about whether I should have a playlist spread in my bullet journal or not. I know that they're really popular, but I'm also just like, I am not really as big into finding new music as I once was. So I usually feel like if I have a playlist spread every month, I'm just gonna put the same songs on there. But then I was going through my playlist and I was like, well, eventually I am gonna run out of songs, like, let's be real. But I do have like a lot of songs that I do enjoy and listen to every month, so why not just do that? I actually posted some lyrics from one of the songs that's on the list. Of course, I didn't fill in the actual playlist spread yet. That's coming as a reel on my Instagram pretty soon, but it is from a song called I Love Him by, I'm blanking on her name right now, but I will put it on the screen just in case you're curious. And I really love that song, so it was kind of perfect to go there. Another thing I want to mention is those small scissors, yeah, they're very sharp, which means that I accidentally cut too much of the page off when trying to cut what I pasted in. So yeah. And this is where I accidentally reused the same quote, just in white. So, you know. When I was planning to do a meal planner, I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to do it because I'm very kind of new to this, but I've been cooking a lot at home, so I thought it'd be really nice to kind of plan my grocery list around the things I want to eat each week instead of just like going to the grocery store every day and just randomly buying stuff to eat, because that's just not sustainable long term, and I want to eat cooked meals from home long term. So I created this kind of like these 5 sections where each section would represent a week, and I could write down like what I'm eating that week, and then at the bottom I could write down what were my favorite meals. In retrospect, I would have done this spread differently because it's kind of, I haven't really figured out how to make it functional, and I've also decided that like I should buy groceries for the span of 2 weeks, so meals for 2 weeks instead of just 1 week, and then that way I like have the meals that I'm going to make for 2 weeks straight. And anyway, I'm kind of rambling on, but you kind of get my point. So if you have a meal planner in your bullet journal, please let me know how you set it up and how you use it, because I am kind of struggling figuring this out, but it's something I really want to do, and it's something I want in my bullet journal going forward. So again, I'm doing that layering with the things, but I did it a little bit differently because I stamped the actual washi tape instead of a piece of paper. And I thought that was just like a cool little way to make it just a little bit different. I kind of didn't want to do the exact same thing for every single page, so I tried to mix it up. But I think these pages came together so well. They really look like a unit, and I love that. So yeah, this is how these pages came out. All right, so next up we are doing my gratitude log and my goals. Of course, if you guys have watched my 2 previous videos for the year, you will know that these are kind of like OG spreads now. These are spreads that will be in my bullet journal probably every single month for this year, and I'm not complaining about it. I think having a space to show gratitude is a really great way to change your mindset and make it more positive, which is definitely something I could use right now. And I also think having a place to be introspective and think about your goals and specifically what can you work on during the month is like a really awesome thing as well. To be honest, sometimes I get a little bit lazy with my goal spread and I just put the same things that were on there the previous month. So I'm really trying to get out of that habit and really trying to think about what do I want to focus on this month. And when I say I put the same things, I mean like my goals for the month are always symbols of like what I'm trying to accomplish for the whole year, which is why sometimes it can make sense to put the same things, because those smaller steps are helping me achieve my bigger goals. But if I'm just writing the same thing over every month, I'm really not doing anything. I'm really not growing. I'm really not thinking about whether I actually accomplished it the month before or not. So that's why I'm trying to be way more intentional, thinking about like, what are my goals for the month? What do I actually want to accomplish? And so, as you guys know, I have 4 categories of my goals, which include personal, health, school, and social. And when I say social, I mean social media. So I've been really working on trying to get better with YouTube, so this one doesn't count, and also trying to get better and be more consistent on Instagram. Instagram is one of those platforms I just can't seem to figure out, so I'm having a little bit of a rough time, but I enjoy doing it, so we're gonna keep going. And yeah, I usually keep these spreads super simple because I feel like they serve more of a function than just being pretty. So I add a little bit of decoration here and there, but for the most part, these spreads are very, very simple, and I like to keep it that way. All right, flipping to my last spread of this plan with me, we have come to week 1 in my bullet journal. So I first actually wanted to start off by doing something similar to what I did last month, and that is creating tabs. I really enjoyed being able to easily flip through each week and know where it was. So I did it again, and I used a very similar picture to the cover page to tie that back in as my tabs. So came out really cool. And yeah, so I'm just doing the one tab for the video because this kind of did take me a long time for no reason. I'm still getting used to tabs. I think the smaller scissors definitely helps, but I'm also just still kind of figuring it out. Like, I definitely could have wrapped this around the tab to make it a lot easier to put it on both sides, and I didn't do that because I wasn't thinking about it. So yeah. Also, I thought this was gonna fit for some reason. I should have known it wasn't gonna fit, but rounding off the corner to finish off that edge, and then we are getting into the actual like layout that I'm going to be going with for this first week. So I knew I was kind of going to have a lot to do, especially like, we're reaching the halfway point for school, so I'm gonna have like midterms and big tests coming up, so I knew I was gonna need a lot of space this month. And so I just went with this vertical layout that gives me plenty of space to plan. I'm using the top section to write out the days of the week, and then I have like a cutout in the actual like rectangle, and that will be for my work schedule and for my workout schedule. I just thought that it would be nice to have like a separate place to put them. So I don't know if I'm gonna do this every week, but I thought I'd give it a try, see how I like it. That left plenty of space to plan at the top, so that is what I did, starting off with some more book paper that I just used to cut around the corner. I then took one of my bigger plant stickers and used that on top of the paper, and I do a little bit of layering here to kind of get this interesting effect. I take a postcard sticker and put that over top, and then again I use that paper to write out March and put that right on top. And I actually went for calligraphy instead of stamped, so just an interesting choice that I made, but I think it looks pretty good. Now I'm leaving space for a calendar, and right next to the calendar on the other page is where my mood tracker is gonna go. So still very much enjoying having a mood tracker, and that probably won't change, so yeah. Now I am making grids for each of the sections of the planning area, and I won't bore you with like the whole process because trust me, this looks awesome, but it takes forever to do this, especially because, I had to stop and start and stop and start with doing the vertical lines. So yeah, but the end result is always so nice. So I'm just like, I'd rather just take the time to do it. Also, the supplies that I'm using right now have become easily some of my favorite supplies, and it is the Colors of the World from Crayola. If you don't have them, I would highly recommend you get them. They are super inexpensive online. I think I saw them on Amazon for about $5, and they just have such beautiful neutral colors, so I would highly recommend it. Anyway, I threw in some eucalyptus leaves and a quote that says, "Choose to see the good stuff." And after I stamp out each day of the week, that is pretty much gonna wrap up this spread. So I'm gonna add a couple more decorations, like a couple stamps and a couple more little details, and that is pretty much it. All Alright, so now we have come to a final flip through. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I really hope that you enjoyed the spreads that I put together and you find some inspiration. If you did, let me know down below. But other than that, you guys, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for the support, even when I'm running a little bit late on these things, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.